Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 2 of Planet Zoo. Today, I'm going to do something a little bit different from the last time, or the last video that I made. I was very curious and at the same time, was kind of not that satisfied about the last video that I made because I felt like while I was paying attention or while I'm paying attention to something very closely, I give all my attention to, I felt like it was a distraction for me to create something. So instead of doing that, I pre-recorded this video and I do voiceover it instead, and to see whether it's okay. And the decision that I made about speaking English is because I feel like a little more comfortable with doing it. It's not that I'm not comfortable at all at speaking Thai, but it just felt like while I'm speaking English, I feel like it's a little bit more comfortable and I could express myself more when I speak in English. But maybe it's just me. That's why I'm testing myself out for this video. Anyway, before we go any further than this, let's get back to watching the video and details of why I created this thing. As you can see here, I built a rock sculpture, more like a terrain or a mountain, or I don't know what's it called in English, but yeah, I tried to build something that I got inspired from Wakanda or Black Panther movie. I'm pretty sure it's not Black Panther. The first time I saw this kind of statue, I think it was Avengers or something like that. The first time I saw it, it was really intense and terrifying and intimidating at the same time. So that's what I got inspired by, and I didn't think about it at first when I was building this because I didn't know how many tools were there. Talking about the first episode that I built my own zoo, I found there are a lot of bugs and the problems that I could not solve, or I think I did solve it, but I don't know if it's still bugging or is it just me that didn't know what happened. It's because of that cleanliness thing that many people might have a problem. I don't know if you have any, but I did have a problem with the cleanliness of the barriers. I did find that if you move or readjust the barriers or even the shelters itself, you can potentially find animal poops underneath or outside of the barriers, because if you once move it, it's not gonna gone forever, it's still there. But if you move them inside and you bring the keeper in, even though they're not cleaning that exact spot, but they got clean anyway. That's all the things you would hope for, right? I mean, instead of like spending hours on clicking the keeper to come in, you just stop the madness. And yeah, also the disease is also important. I found that even though the cleanliness is 100%, you could potentially find disease. So hiring more vets could help, and do some research on the disease control. That's what I found on my zoo though. I don't know about yours. The funny thing that happened on my zoo recently that I just found out was the resizing of the barriers of my pea-found area. The cleanliness wouldn't go up from 72% to 100. It kept lowering down no matter how hard I press on the mouse or how many times I press to let the keepers come in. They clean it though, but it won't get cleaned. So what did I do? I resized them. I found out about 2 or 3 hours of gameplay later on that day. I resized the barriers and I let the keepers in. Well, everything was fixed. It was hell of a day. Really. So, yeah, before we go any further than this, let's get back to that build. As you can see that I have, the first time that I built the teeth, it was very straight out vertical, and I thought that was not natural. So what I did was I deleted it and I fixed it by placing the shape terrain, and yeah, I toggled it up a bit by rotating and changing the axis of the shape, which I just found out. The things you won't tell the users to do, that just really frustrated me, because this is the thing that they should give you a tutorial on how to do this. I mean, I'm not blaming them. They have a lot of things that, but this thing is so important because some of the things in here, they put a lot of things in here, but I feel like there should be more of the tutorials instead of letting us do all the work, as in, like, finding out on ourselves. It's just really painful. But the tools here are very flexible and very convenient for me. I really love them. They're not the best, to be fair. They're not the best. They're not like on the 3D program where you have like all the custom, all the settings that you can have 10,000 of them. But this one is just a regular basic shaping tools. You only have like a rotation and axis toggle XYZ axis, and that's all you have. The rest is up to your imagination to work out how you're gonna use all those tools to make something like something that's really great. So what you can see here, I used a lot of shade, and I used the shape, the circular one for the head, and also the sphere for the head, and the box, the cube for the nose, and the cone shape for the ears. Man, watching this, I felt like I should have seen this coming sooner, instead of like spending an hour or two to actually build something from scratch. I didn't know about this until I had to start doing it by myself. I was so frustrated for a while, but it's okay now. And it looks really weird. All the proportion that you built on the other side got ruined. It was really ruining. But I didn't give up on it that easily, because in my mind I thought it was really finished. So I tried to not give up and try to fix these small things a little bit more. So when I did, it turned out to be really perfect. I mean, I'm okay with the result anyway, even though it was not that satisfactory. But in real life, no matter, well, you have to spend more than I did, 3 to 4 hours building this anyway. So this much time, and with my minimum experience, I think this is already good enough. Not blaming myself. I think it's okay. So anyway, from the front it still look really snakish, um, kind of fakes, but I think they have the dimension now. So I'm trying to fix everything by adding more texture in. As you can see, before it was not there was not a lot of texture on the fakes, so when the light hits it looks really bland and boring. So I'm trying to make everything looks more polished by adding more dimension and texture, make it rough, adding eyeballs in, but it was still really hard because the lights, you can't adjust it. You can't uh, you can't place the light source at the right angles, if you know what I mean. Because the sun comes up on the other side, right? And then it goes to the top of the head and then goes to the other side. That's all the light source that you have. So when you adjust the light source that available to you, it's really hard for you to see if they're even. I was still shocked at my luck that I chose this side, you know, placing all the things, placing it on this side, because if I were to place it on the other side, the light would hit only one side at a time. You know what I mean? And you could only see one side, and you could not go back and change it unless you rebuild it from the scratch again. And if that, I'm gonna be pissed. But anyway, I was not really satisfied with the teeth that I built, so the teeth should be unparalleled to the bottom teeth. It should fit when the jaw, the mouth closed. So I try to move it to the side a bit and move it inside a bit, still maintain that diagonal angle, and I try to add more skin to it so it covers the teeth, and when the light hits it looks more natural. I think this one is the view looking fine. I'm so satisfied with the things, but I still could not make out the texture. It was really hard because one of the problems that I found is if you adjust the size of the brush to its lowest, and even though you maxed out the intensity of the turn tool, it won't go up, it won't build up as easy as it would if you adjust the size a bit more. So if you adjust the size a bit more, like 2 or 3 size, it would be really good, but it would be really bad for building up because you don't want that big bulky on the top. In my mind, I didn't want anything too buggy or anything too bumpy. Like a big bump is not what I'm picturing in my mind. So it was really hard to adjust it. As you can see here, I was trying to adjust the mouth so that it expand to the side more, so it look more natural. And when the light hits, it also has that dimension and texture as well. I speak about dimension and texture a lot because if you don't have, well, it's not that I have it, but if you don't have it, you don't have them at all, it looks weird. It looks like a freaking sand dunes. So now I'm trying to adjust the ears. As you can see that I was really adjusting the ears very minimal because it was really hard with the brush. So I gave up on that. I feel like the more I adjust to it, the more I ruined it. But this side looks really good. The texture, the light when it hits, it's really good. So I try to add something a little bit more natural by the in the mouth by adding more teeth in. Just to remind you, I got this from it was really hard when you're not having the reference picture because I don't know what to add in it, if you know what I mean. I can't do anything like this in a way that I would do with another thing. Like, I cannot multitasking, while doing things like creative work. I find that the more I do something else, like for example, if I draw something and then I look at the pictures, I got distracted a lot of times. And also the location that I'm recording this in is not very suitable for any of those. There's really small place and you can't place anything, in front of the things, and it's just that complicated. As you can see here, I added a little more of the muscle movement. I felt it was a little bit less texture and doesn't have that a lot of dimension. So I try to add and replicate this side to the other side because I really love the other side so much. But I do love the other side as well. It looks smoother now and it looks okay, but I couldn't replicate it to any of the other sides. Like I talked about before, it was really hard to replicate one to the other side, so I just left it at that. But I think I adjusted the torso because I thought it was looking really thin and not masculine enough, but I didn't show it here, so yeah, but I did it anyway. It looks okay. Hours of the clip. So now I try to adjust everything by adding the tiger in and see their needs and their lights in plants and coverage area. And what I found that they don't need as much shelter as I thought it would be. I did add the shelter later on though, like about 2 or 3 hours of gameplay. But when I look at it, they didn't need it as much. As you can see here, it's 100% coverage. But maybe because, they really sociable sort of animals. They're not scared of the human. So that's why then they probably don't need that much of the shelter. But as you can see here, the barriers that I put, I thought, if it's the tiger, they could probably jump, but then I didn't know better, so I dropped it down a little bit more for the final result, but you can see it here either. But yeah, that's what I did later on because it's kind of block all the scenarios, block all the scenes and the views, and I add a little more waterfall and water plants. But yeah, โอเคจบกันไปแล้วนะครับสำหรับการสร้างหินผานะครับที่เป็นรูปหน้าเสือนะครับขอบคุณทุกคนที่รับติดตามชมกันมาถึงตอนนี้นะครับ18นาทีกับการตัดต่อกับการเล่นของจริงช่างแตกต่างกันเหลือเกินยังไงถ้ามีคำติชมอะไรหรือว่าอยากจะถามอะไรสามารถถามมาได้ที่ด้านล่างนี้เลยครับแล้วถ้าเกิดผมได้อ่านแล้วหรือมีเวลามาอ่านก็จะมาตอบให้แน่นอนเลยครับไงวันนี้ลาไปก่อนสวัสดีครับ Thank you for everyone for watching until now and for being patient with me. It was the most intense 4 to 5 hours of gameplay building this, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or any comments, please write it down below and send it to me. Same goes with the questions, and I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. Thank you for watching and see you again next time.